So before we get into that interview, let's talk about Ristolainen, because I want to right a cosmic wrong here that I have done.
Okay.
I was under the impression, and it's sampling bias and it's my own stupid fault, but because of Twitter and all the rest of it, I was under the impression that everyone knew that Ristolainen sucked. And so I thought that he was actually, if anything, underrated at this point, because everybody thought that he was so bad. And I'm like,
Right.
well, he is still an NHL player.
Right.
He's just not. And so that's why I was, beating the drum of saying he's a decent pickup. He's a decent little pickup that won't cost you much.
Right.
5.1 million, Ken?
Yeah.
For, is it 5 years?
Yep. 5.1 times 5, I think. Or is it 4? It might be 4, but either way.
It's a lot of money to pay for a guy that's never... Has he ever looked good in his career? Has anybody ever watched him playing top line minutes and said, yeah, this is right. This is good.
Yeah. No, probably not.
Yeah. So tell me your initial thoughts on that contract.
I was surprised. I was really surprised. I guess I'm trying to look at this from Philadelphia's vantage point. They've kind of lost their way in a big way. And what are the Philadelphia Flyers? What are they? What's their identity?
Bad.
Yeah, other than that, yeah. So I get that they're searching for a bit of an identity. They want to be a little more difficult to play against. They want to be, they want to have that bite on the blue line, which this guy brings all of that.
He does.
But to me, those are the kinds of contracts. And I've said it before. It's not giving the $10 million to the Stars that kills you.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of contracts that end up crippling you.
Yeah.
In terms of your ability to do anything to get out from under the cap number, right?
Yeah.
I look at a guy like right now, Jack Eichel might be Vegas's best player.
Yeah.
He's been really good.
Yeah.
He's been really, really good since he got there, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's not the Jack Eichel, it's not the Mark Stone, it's not the Alex Pietrangelo. It's the Evgeny Dadonov at $5 million. That's the one that kills you.
Yeah.
And they would love to move that contract somewhere.
Yeah.
And they might. They might. I could see a team like Arizona taking Evgeny Dadonov off their hands. And Vegas taking half the money or whatever, some of the money, and giving something up big for that. But that's what it takes. And to me, it's those are the contracts that end up just killing you a couple of years down the road.
This, to your point, was Kapanen and Andreas Johnsson, were they bad players? Like when they played for the Leafs?
No, they weren't terrible.
They were fine. They were fine middle six guys, right?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you give them $4 and $5 million. I think Kapanen was 4.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you give them $4.5 million and you've set a level of expectation that you might not be getting back from them. Look at Joel Armia this year on Montreal. Yeah. He's making $3.5 million. Now, if he was still making whatever he's making last year, 1.5 or something like that, then you just go, well, whatever, life goes on. Yeah. But you're giving him big boy money and you expect him to play big boy hockey.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually 5 times 5.1. I was right about that. And Craig Button, who I know pretty well and is obviously a former GM and a man about town on TSN.
Yeah, he's known for his cold takes.
Yeah. He's always said to me, he said, players don't change, expectations do.
Interesting.
And that to me is what you get when you sign these contracts. The player doesn't change.
Yeah.
Bobby Holik, when he signed with the New York Rangers for all that money, was still a third line centerman. Right. That's what he was. He wasn't instantly going to be. And you've used this analogy a lot with goalies. It's just because you sign a guy to a $10 million contract doesn't mean he's a $10 million goalie.
Yeah.
And so the player doesn't change. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're expecting Rasmus Ristolainen to all of a sudden become the second coming of whatever, Chris Pronger or
Chris
whatever.
Pronger,
Because he's not.
Yeah.
He's not. He's going to be what he is.
Yeah.
And you could argue he's going to be worse as the contract moves along here.
Yeah.
But they're looking for something. They want some identity. They want someone to be the alpha male, I guess, when Claude Giroux moves along. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was that one was a big head scratcher. They gave up, and then you get to where the GM's like, okay, we gave up Robert Hagg. We gave up a first round pick. We gave up a second round pick for this guy. You know, we only had him for a year. And then if we let him go for nothing or we trade him for futures, how's that going to look? Yeah.
Yeah. Bob McKenzie brought up the idea of Ben Sherratt, not to give away too much, but just as a little teaser, and how he is a good addition to an already good team.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't build around him. And that's how I've looked at Ristolainen through this, as if you've got a good team, you know, much like when the Tampa Bay Lightning brought in David Savard for last year's cup run.
Devin? Did you call him Devin?
That's David.
Oh, David. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. David. Yes.
Much like Davey Savvy Boy.
Yeah.
No, much like when Montreal brought in David Savard. Tampa Bay. I was on a good train of thought until you ruined it.
Sorry.
You know, it's not that they were trying to build a defense around him. They were trying to complement an already good defense.
Exactly.
And that's what I expected with Ristolainen. But at $5.1 million, that's a top pairing expectation.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not 8, but it's nothing.
What do they do? What are they going to do? Like, I mean, Ivan Provorov has kind of cratered.
Yeah.
It's not they're not in a great spot.
Yeah.
They're not in a great spot.